Hi, this is Rob Polenic of Brutal Iron Gym. Today's workout was push, so I did chest, shoulders, and triceps in today's workout. I started with cable crossovers. I had the pulley set at kind of like what I would consider a normal height, and the angle that I was using would be the mid chest. So this would be similar to, say, flat bench chest flies. I like to do some type of chest isolation, and usually I like using cable flies as a way to warm up the chest and pre-exhaust the chest. So then when I go into compound movements like heavy chest presses, I fail because my chest reaches fatigue and failure, not because my triceps do. So I'm wanting to make sure that my chest compound movements stay chest focused, not just definitely not tricep focused, or even having a blend of anything else getting in the way. I really want it to be purely just chest work. So I did 2 high rep sets, 2 low rep sets, got a good pre-fatigue exhaustion of the chest. And then I actually changed the angle a little bit. I put the pulleys higher and did like a decline angle for the chest flies to work across the outside portion of the chest. And then I paired that with dumbbell incline presses, and that would essentially work my chest in the entirety, but a little bit of an incline is going to target a little bit more of the upper chest. So the pairing of the decline cable flies and the incline press was intended to make sure I targeted the full chest development. On the presses, I did a slow tempo, so I was just making sure that I was controlling my tempo on the way down and even on the way up. I wanted to think of stretching the chest and then flexing the chest. So I'm not thinking about like moving the dumbbells as much as I'm trying to mentally focus on what my chest is feeling and making sure that I'm flexing the chest, not thinking of just pushing the dumbbells up. Especially for me and anyone else, if you have short upper arm bones, your triceps will take over a lot on presses. So staying mentally focused on what the chest is doing is a good technique tip rather than just focusing on moving an implement, which would be the dumbbell or machine or barbell. You want to focus on what the chest is doing if chest growth is your main focus. Then after a couple sets of those being paired together, I just did regular chest presses at a regular tempo just to push a little bit more weight load to make sure the chest was fully exhausted. I then moved on to shoulders. I did some cable reverse flies to work on the back side of the shoulder, and then I paired that with dumbbell standing lateral raises to work on the middle. And I did do the raises with a little bit of a forward angle on my arms. I find that for me better isolates the middle part of my shoulder. If I try to keep my hands too far back, I get my traps kind of involved. So if I let my hands come a little forward, I can actually better isolate my middle shoulder. So I would encourage you to do the same. Is don't be afraid to play around with the angle in which you're moving your arms if it helps you better isolate your intended area. So if doing it a certain way because somebody said so doesn't allow you to feel it best, it's better to move in a way that for your anatomy allows you to feel the muscle working the best. If you don't know what that is, start with what the suggestions are that are most common among people who do what you want to do. So if bodybuilding is your goal, start with the most common advice from bodybuilders. But then as you would start to develop your own mind-muscle connection, if you find, hey, if I change my hand angle a little bit, if I change my arm angle a little bit, I can better feel the targeted muscle, then go ahead and make those changes. So I did a couple working sets of that, and then I moved on to my finishing set, which was a cable lateral raise where the cable is a little bit higher than all the way at the bottom, and that ensured that when I was in the most stretched state for the shoulder, that was actually very loaded, and then as I would raise to the top, it didn't decrease pressure too much, but it was opposing to gravity. When I was doing the dumbbell raises, you have the least amount of resistance at the bottom and the most at the top. So you have the least amount of resistance when the muscle is most stretched and the most resistance when it's most contracted. So the cable variation inverts that. So I actually am more loaded in a stretch position and slightly less loaded in the contracted position. It's a good way to just juxtapose those two stimulus to make sure that you're maximizing how you can stress that muscle. And then I did overhead tricep extensions. Since I already had a little bit of tricep stress in the presses, which would be kind of like my arm by my body kind of position, I wanted to make a change to that. So when I was doing the tricep isolation, I wanted to get out of that position. So doing it arm overhead was a good change of position to change the stimulus. Overall, this is a lot of volume. I think I was over 20 working sets. So it is a big workout day, but this was what I wanted to do and I felt excited for it, and that just happened to be the case. When I was in vacation last week, I was doing a push-pull legs rotation and I liked it, so I just kind of kept it so far for this week. We'll see how it goes. I probably won't always have time to put all these muscle groups together, but when I do, I like to do that. It allows me to train more often, and I like training, so it's a good kind of culmination of everything I like. So if you give this workout a try, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, just put it in the comment section below, and thank you for watching.